Well, here's the thought that probably doesn't occur to you too often. It takes a lot of heat to melt a mountain. Well, today I want to introduce you to a mountain melter. Welcome to Mornings with Bishop Robert. Thanks for joining me. I'm really grateful you're here. My goal is to introduce people to the Jesus they never knew, and then help them get to know Him and His Word personally and better. So if our time together today speaks to your heart, let me invite you to like, subscribe, and also share it with a friend. You know, North Korea's largest and most recent nuclear test in 2017 caused a massive horizontal displacement, and it pushed the side of the mountain in which the underground test was conducted outward by as much as 3.5 meters. It also melted the inside of the mountain and collapsed the peak by over 0.5 meters. Also located in New Mexico's San Andres Mountains is a place called the White Sands Missile Range. It's where the U.S. conducted its initial test of a device that was referred to only as the Gadget, a plutonium bomb that would end up changing the course of history and bring World War II to a close. The atomic age began on July 16, 1945, at 5:29 Mountain Time, with the first detonation of an atomic weapon in recorded history. The resultant heat was so intense that sand was pulled up from the ground into the heart of the explosion and liquefied. The mountain had melted. You know, interestingly enough, it was called the Trinity test. But there's another Trinity. And God doesn't need a test to know if He can melt mountains. Today's verse describes it in this way. The mountains melt like wax before the Lord. You know, elsewhere in the Psalms, David wrote that God is a fortress, a stronghold, a deliverer. He's our shield, the one in whom we can take refuge. He subdues peoples. When David was in distress from an impending attack, he called upon God to part the heavens and come down, to touch the mountains so they smoke and burn with intense fire. Well, we don't know who wrote Psalm 97, which is where today's verse is taken from. It may have been David, or it may have been written after the Israelites returned to Jerusalem from their exile in Babylon. But we do know that it proclaims the kingship of God. The Lord reigns, and therefore the earth can rejoice in His rulership. You know, I find it interesting. The code name for the initial detonation was Trinity. It was perhaps some sort of recognition of the immense power of God and the biblical references to His melting of mountains. Now, we'll never know for sure, because the man who chose the name, well, he claimed he couldn't recall why he had selected it. But we do well to recall the immense power of God. But His power is not random. The writer of Psalm 97 reminds us that He guards the lives of His faithful ones. He is our shield. We are His Trinity project. We who walk in His presence can rejoice and be glad. We're instructed to rejoice in the Lord, we who are righteous, and to praise His holy name. He's awesome and powerful. He's loving and faithful, and the mountains melt like wax before Him. We've used up the time we set for this morning, but before we break apart, can I ask you to help me introduce people to the Jesus they never knew, and also help them get to know Him and His Word personally and better? Here's what I want you to do. Please like this video. It really does help more people see it. Also, click follow or subscribe so that you and I can get together every day. If you want to click the link in the description, I'll get you a free copy of my book, Count to One. I'll drop it right in your inbox for you. Hey, one more thing. Would you share this video with a friend? Because as you do, that makes you part of the team, touching hearts all over the world with the love of Jesus. Thanks for helping.